Hi guys, thank you for joining us back on DressYourFaceLive.com. I know a lot has happened between the last show and this show, and I just wanted to say thanks for hanging in there with me. I did a whole segment for Sephora for New York Fashion Week, and I just got back really late last night. So my brain's still kind of all over the place, but I have been looking forward to today's class since we first put it on the schedule, and I know you guys noticed it on the schedule and we're like super excited. You guys requested this class actually when we first launched a little over a year ago, and I've been trying to incorporate the tips on dark circles throughout every single class we've done so far when it comes to makeup, and even the hair classes. That when I answer like makeup questions, I try to always answer about the dark circles, but there's just nothing like actually showing you what amount of product to use and what products I like and how to move your hands and all that stuff. And so today's class is really dedicated to those of you who need that extra help in making sure that your dark circles or your clients' dark circles are completely gone when they leave your chair. So today's class is not only going to talk about dark circles, but we're also going to talk about some bagginess under the eyes. I have bagginess, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the little tricks that we do in the industry on how to hide that in pictures. And I also wanted to talk about hyperpigmentation, any areas of the face that could be darker or not the same tone as the rest of the face and the rest of the skin. So before I introduce my beautiful model, I wanted to just touch base on a couple of the things regarding hyperpigmentation and dark circles and whatnot. I wanted to also talk to you guys about treatment options that there are out there. Those are very pricey, but for those of you who want to go that route, there are options out there for more of a longer term fix or a permanent fix. As far as skincare that helps with dark circles, I have not been happy with anything in the market. There was a product, it was made by Strivectin, but I forgot the name of it. It was like a serum brightener. It had a little bit of vitamin C in it and some other properties in that tube, and it was sold at Macy's and Nordstrom, I believe. If any of you remember the name, please do write it down on the latest post on my Instagram page so you guys can help each other as a community, answer each other's questions if I'm unable to. This is the post, the latest post that just says how to cover dark circles, and then there's the before and after. Go ahead and ask your questions on that post so I can answer later and that you guys can answer each other. But the question that I have for you is figure out the name of that tube. Strivectin, the company, makes this product. I haven't seen it in years, but this was like 10 years ago that I noticed it. And I tried it on one eye, and it was like a brightening serum. Like it looked like a tube, and it was a brightening serum. And I did it on one eye for about 3 weeks, and I left the other eye alone. I did notice a little bit of a difference, but it was just not enough for me to buy a second bottle of that. So I wasn't like thrilled. And then I've tried, depuffing creams and, creams that claim to tighten and lift the eye immediately, those instant lift things. And I just was really frustrated. And, makeup is an amazing way to camouflage a lot of different things that you may not feel too comfortable with on your skin. But what an annoying thing it is, right? Especially being South Asian myself. I was born with it basically. Even when I was a kid, I had darkness around my eyes, or maybe not too dark, but it was there. And I had these grooves around my eyes, which were always there. And there was just nothing that can truly help it if it's hereditary. And then of course, you guys know my schedule. I never sleep. I'm always on my feet working, traveling. My eating habits, unfortunately, I'm trying to work on that, but sometimes they're all over the place and I can't really get to healthy foods. So, I'm with you guys on this. So what I did was I contacted a doctor who I really want to bring on the show one day so you guys can interview him here in Beverly Hills. And he does, his name is Simon Orion. And he does treatments for under eye dark circles. And if you go down my page, you'll see my eye before and after. It didn't remove it 100%, but my God, did it make such a great difference. I don't have to wear too much concealer anymore. My highlighting is minimal. What they do is they just put small, tiny micro injections around the groove of your eye, so that area that's hollow, and it creates that's really sharp shadow. they inject a little bit of filler into those areas so that it flattens that eye area, and then they use a thing called Cool Laser. It's like a laser beam, a really cool technology that helps to brighten pigmented skin or dark areas. So the combination of those two treatments within a 10-minute span, I was in and out in 10 minutes, and I managed to get brighter eyes. So that helped me. I just wanted to talk to you guys about that. And I again, if you guys have found a cream, an eye cream that helps with these kind of things, please do enter it in the comments of my latest post. I would love for you all to learn from each other based on your trial and error in the market. Like I said, everything I've tried, I just haven't gotten the best results from, except for doing the laser and the micro injections around my grooves of my eyes, and that was the only thing that like obviously totally helped. However, cost-wise, it can run thousands of dollars, but as far as how long it lasts, it can last a few years. So to me, you know, weighing it out and spending hundreds of dollars on creams versus a one-time thing that could last a few years, I went for that. And then, of course, as far as like hyperpigmentation on the face, the cool laser that I was telling you about really does help with that as well. So definitely check out Simon Oren's page. I tag him in a lot of my posts so you guys can see my before and after of the eye. I tagged him so you guys can take a look at that and see what he does. And I'm sure there are doctors in your areas as well that can do something like that. But always, 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 if you do seek medical attention on anything that's going on with your face, make sure you do your research, make sure you get references, and ask previous patients how they did, go on Yelp or whatever websites there are that have true, real reviews. Go ahead and read those and really find out the truth behind it, and know what you're putting into your body. Know the product, know all the pros and cons, read everything that they tell you to sign, and you should be okay if you are educated and you're careful with all that stuff. So now that I've given you my lecture, we're ready to get started with the actual class. You guys have noticed my henna, right? My henna tattoo. This is from Deepali, Glory of Henna on Instagram. You guys have to follow her. She is so gifted in everything she does, and she's a celebrity henna artist here in LA. She has done a lot of your favorite girls. If you want to look on her page, you'll see exactly who. Well, one of them I love from Pretty Little Liars, Shay Mitchell. And then Pia Mia. Yeah, Pia Mia. So there's a lot going on her page. You guys can get inspiration, but I asked her to be a model today so we can do that whole transformation for you on camera. So please welcome Deepali. She's gonna take the seat. Welcome.
Hi everyone.
Hello. Okay, so, let me just move you this way here. So Deepali is also South Asian, and we all kind of share that quality of darkness around the eyes, and we do have some pigmentation. So I wanted to show you how to correct that and how easily we can create a brighter look. So we're gonna go ahead and zoom in a little bit just to her face, and I'll go ahead and get started by just giving her a little bit of a primer. So I'm gonna ask her now, how's your skin type? Is it dry or oily or in the middle?
My skin is dry.
It's dry?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and use a product that is meant for dry skin, and I'm also gonna use it around the eye area. Are you dry around your eyes too?
No, not really.
Not too much?
It's more on my cheek.
More on the cheeks.
Yeah.
Okay, then we're gonna use minimal product around the eye area as far as this one. I'm gonna use a different one around the eye area. And for the face, I'm going to use this one right here. This is the Hourglass number 28 priming serum. This feels like butter for the face. It's so emollient and very good for dry areas. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm just going to give her a nice little helping of this product here. Again, you can find this at Sephora. It is Hourglass number 28 serum. And I love it for dry skin. I myself have very, very dehydrated dry skin. No matter how much water I drink, it does not change. So I love this stuff.
It smells like spa.
Oh my God, it totally does,
So
right?
good, yeah.
It's amazing. I read so much about this stuff online that I went ahead and decided to try it, and I felt the tester at Sephora and I was just in love, pure love. So I bought it and I'm already on my second bottle because I do use this on all of my dry skin clients. And if you ever have a client that's makes some areas dry, some areas oily, it's okay to just use this on your dry areas and then change it up to an oil-free one on the oily areas. But look how refreshed the skin looks already. Now, For around the eyes, what I'm going to use is the YSL Touche Eclat Blur Primer, which is for all skin types. I like this because it is a silicone-based primer, so it is going to fill in fine lines and any unevenness when it comes to the texture of the skin. So I'm just going to pump a little bit onto, lovely, I love how this is not even pumping right now. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit on the back of my hand. And remember, always start with sanitized hands. Go ahead and look up to the ceiling. I'm just going to roll this right underneath the eyes here. And it's going to help me to create a smoother palette for the makeup. So just a small amount around the eyes. All right, we're done with the priming. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and apply some foundation all over her. So I'm going to use, and here's one of the biggest tricks that I wanted to really explain to you. When somebody has dark circles or any type of darkness around their face, you definitely do not want to go lighter in their foundation. I understand that in the bridal business, when you're doing Indian brides, a lot of them ask you to go lighter on their face. If they have hyperpigmentation, I do not recommend going lighter. Instead, if they want a brightened look, go a little bit more apricot or orangey. Stick to the NC 42s, 43s, 45s with MAC. That's going to give them a little bit more of an orangey coverage, and that is going to remove the gray tones that happen when you put a light foundation on darker skin. So do not stick with light colors or gray tones, stick with orange tones, and then using a highlighter, you can always brighten up areas that get too oxidized or too dark. So I'm going to start with NC44, which sounds like a really dark color, but when you see it on her, it looks absolutely amazing because this alone covers up so much. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the back of my hand here, and I'll be using my this is my Morphe brush. Let me tell you the number. Oh Lord. Okay, M427. Morphe M427. I've applied a little bit on both sides here, and now I'm just going to stamp it right into her skin to give her a nice, even glow. Again, I chose this color because it has orange in it, and that orange is going to prevent her skin from looking gray when I brighten it up. So always remember, if you're ever trying to brighten dark circles, if those dark circles have more of a brown to a bluish type of tint, even a purplish tint, then use an orange color to correct it. Looks amazing. If the darkness has a very green tint, then you can use more of a beige tone or even a little bit of a reddish kind of a tone to help with that. But to me, honestly, those correctional palettes that have so many different colors in them, I never use any of the other colors. I only use the orange or I use nothing. Because with those other tones, it's very easy to cover it with just the beige tones of your normal makeup. But gray is very tricky. When things turn gray on you, you need orange. So notice how I'm just packing on the product. I'm pushing it into her skin so it looks smoother. It's filling in any pores, and it just looks absolutely flawless around her face. If you want to add a little bit more, you absolutely may. We still have some highlighting and contouring to do, so I'm probably not going to add too much more. Maybe just a little drop more along the forehead, just to brighten that up. And I think a lot of you may notice that when you're working with South Asian clients, or even the caramel tones of African American women, us as women of color, we don't tend to have one color all over our face. We have multiple colors on our face. A lot of us are darker on our chin, darker around our mouth, and darker on our forehead, and lighter on our cheeks. And there are ways to even everything out. So just follow my steps here to make sure. If someone is very, very different in their skin tones, like if someone was really, really dark here and really light on the cheek, then you can absolutely use 2 different foundations to make sure that you're not going too white here or too dark here. But again, remember to stick with more of the orange tones so it looks healthier. And then whatever's left on the brush, I'm just going to drag it down to the neck so we have a very even overall look. All right, now that that's done, it's time to correct. So I'm going to use my concealer brush. Let me give it a little cleaning. And I want to show you one of my favorite correcting palettes. One of my favorite correcting palettes. And that would be my MAC Conceal and Correct palette. Right over here, you guys see now how crazy I go with this thing. And it is, which one is it? Medium Deep. So MAC Pro Conceal and Correct palette in Medium Deep. You see that crazy orange color? That's what we're gonna use to correct. And the brush that we're gonna use for this is the MAC 287 brush. Morphe also has a brush almost exactly like this. I'll find out later what that brush name is for you, but just remember, if you do go on morphebrushes.com to buy anything, you can absolutely use my personal code, which is for my students and my followers. It's DYF, and you can use that to save more money on the already affordable brushes. So morphebrushes.com, go ahead and look up to the ceiling and chin down just a little bit, just eyes up, beautiful. So right now what we're doing is we're just packing on a little thin layer of orange concealer. This is the correcting concealer. Again, I'm not using a whole lot of product. I'm only using one side of the brush for one eye, the other side of the brush for the other eye. And anywhere that I see any darkness, that's where I'm going to put this on. And I'm going to go all the way up to the lash line. And notice that I'm using the brush in a flat manner so that it really pushes into the skin and it's not going to create big chunks of product. All right, now close your eyes. I'm also going to even out the eyelid. A lot of us have a darker eyelid than the rest of our face, so I'm going to go ahead and whatever's left on my brush, that orange, I'm going to use it across the eyelid. And that should even out a lot of the pigmentation. All right, once that's done, you can also brighten up any other areas that are starting to look a little bit grayish. So I love to do this around the mouth too. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some of this orange around the lips. Pushing it right into the skin. Any areas where I see any shadowing, around the edges here. And if any of you have darkness anywhere else, you can absolutely use this around other areas as well. But for Dibali here, she doesn't have a whole lot anywhere else. It's really just along the eyes and the mouth, which is more common for all of us. So I'm just making sure I have enough here. Alrighty. So now that this is done and we see some orange random peaks throughout her face, we're now going to use a regular concealer to lock it in place. And what I'm going to use is the MAC Pro Longwear concealer. I'll be mixing NC45 and NC42 so that it can also kind of highlight at the same time. So this is NC45, which is like really orange. And this is NC42, which is a lighter version. Okay, these are the two colors side by side. And now I'm just gonna go in, mix the two, create like a flat bed here, and just use a small amount on one side of the brush. Go ahead and look up to the ceiling. And we are going to apply it over the orange so that no one can tell that there's orange there. So what the orange did was it corrected the darkness, and then this beige little tone that we created is bringing it back to her natural skin tone on top. If we would have just used this, it might have turned gray. I'm just pushing in the product. I'm also wanting to brighten this up as well, just so that overall the skin isn't looking darker. So I am bringing this down as almost like a highlight, going down the sides of the nose with this color. This mixture of NC42 and NC45. Going around the nose as well, and now we can cover up the sides of the mouth that are orange. Okay. Remember to do the inner C's. I call these the inner C's. That's also an area where a lot of us are dark. Even people who don't have dark circles may have a little shadowing in the inner C's, so you always want to make sure that that's taken care of. At this point, we're going to use a dry beauty blender. This is not damp at all. This is completely dry. And I'm going to make sure that the product is really, really sitting nicely in her skin. And the fact that it's dry means that it is going to soak up excess product that is too much on the skin. Go ahead and look up to the ceiling. So I'm using the tip of this product, or this item, to push the product in. Be very gentle. And now I'm going around the nose and the mouth. You can use the back of it too if you don't need that precision tip. And now I'm just kind of pushing it everywhere to make sure that the foundation is nice and blended into her skin and it doesn't end up looking cakey. The last thing you need is for someone to look super thick and caked on when you're trying to correct any darkness, because then it'll look too obvious. All right. Now you can take a look, and everything is much brighter, more even toned, but this is not it. We still have so much to go over when it comes to setting with powder. This is where things can go dramatically wrong. So at this point, I'm going to stop the cream products and go right into the powder. But as an option, if you want to contour, I'll just show you actually right now how I would contour at this stage. Because a lot of people still do really want to contour even when it's a correctional thing. So I'm using LA Girl Pro Conceal in Beautiful Bronze, and I'm just going to use this to contour the sides of the cheeks. I'm going to use it for the edges of the forehead.
I have a big forehead, I know.
Oh my gosh, she thinks she has a big forehead. I've seen big. But for foreheads where you want to minimize, go ahead and contour all along the perimeter and leave this part more bright. So you can just contour a little extra on the top. And we are going to do the nose, which is my favorite part. 2 lines down. I hope you guys have seen my nose contour class. That was a really good class. All right. That's all I'm going to do for contour. I don't want to go overboard. And now I'm going to use my Morphe G30 brush, this baby right here, to blend. So I'm just going to push it right in, and I do not want to ruin any of the orange corrector, so I'm just literally pushing it right into the skin without wiping too much. And if any areas need a little bit of wiping or blending, I'll use my edge of my finger. Just to smooth that out. Now we're going to make sure the forehead contouring is nice and blended. I like this color because it is pretty warm. So it has a little bit of that golden orange tone in it. Ends up looking really nice instead of gray. And it doesn't look dirty, it looks really good. And now I'm just going to do the nose a little bit. We're going to use the Oval number 3 brush from MAC Cosmetics, just to blend the sides of the nose here a little bit. Alright. So that's it really for the contouring. Now it's time to set everything. So I'm going to go in with my Morphe 529 brush, which I used on her for the video. And I'm going to go in with this color called NC42. And I'll be using that right around her eyes. This is what's going to set the concealer. So this is that brush. This is Morphe 529. And before I even set it, I just want to make sure again that there are no lines under the eyes. So I'm going to go back with the Beauty Blender and make sure everything's nice and smooth. And now I can go in and set the area. If someone is super dry around their eyes and you just want to do a very thin layer of setting powder, the more powder you put, the drier it's going to feel, so don't overdo this step if someone's super dry on the eye area. So notice I'm just pushing the product right into the under eye. Okay. And now I'm just going to set the T-zone with the same color. And making sure I can get down the bridge of the nose with this as well, just for a little pop. And remember what you guys learned from my nose class. Bring the highlight up to the side of the nose as well, just to do some extra slimming. So right now I'm just pushing in that extra highlight right along the side of the nose. So it all kind of blends in together. All right, so now that that part's done, I'm going to use another color. You can use NC45 or NC44 if they have it. I went to Dubai a few months ago and got the NC43.5, which is like amazing. This color is not available in the US, but I bought this for my South Asian brides. So this is a great color for like medium tones, and then of course for darker tones you can absolutely go a little bit darker for more of that contour feel. Let me show you which one I would use for that. It's in the Anastasia palette, and that color is called Havana, and that's this shade right here. So first I'm going to use the NC43.5. Again, this is not available in the US, but you can absolutely get it if any of you are from Dubai. This is a MAC brush, number 136 MAC. And I'm just gonna lightly set the rest of the face. So anything that I have not set yet, I'm just gonna roll over very softly with this MAC brush. I'm gonna do the sides of the nose with this a little bit, since it is a couple shades darker. And I'm going to use it around the edge here. And then whatever's left on my brush, if I feel like I want to just blend everything together, I can absolutely do that. And the neck. So now everything has been set. Now it's time to really kick it up a notch with the Anastasia contour kit. So I'm going to go in with another favorite brush of mine, number 189 from MAC. This is the 189 paddle brush. I'm not sure if they still carry it. If they don't, another alternative is the Makeup Forever foundation brush, which if I have it, I'll show you. Yeah, I have that. This is the Makeup Forever foundation brush, which is the same size on top. It's just shorter. So this is the Makeup Forever foundation brush number 108. And then this is a MAC brush number 189, which I heard is discontinued, but I'm not 100% yet. I haven't checked. So now I'm going to go in with this color here. This is called Golden Peach, and this is called L'Orange. Have any of you ever wondered why Anastasia has such an orange color in her contour corrector colors? This is for the custom contour palettes. It's because it is a corrector, and for those of you who end up looking gray after you put powder on, try mixing a little bit of L'Orange into it. It's orange spelled with the L in front of it and an apostrophe, L'Orange, and that should help to minimize the gray effect. So I'm going to mix L'Orange and Golden Peach together to really brighten up on the cheekbones. And if I even want to add a hint of banana in there, so basically these top three, I can go in and just brighten just in that groove area, the groove right in here, and then everywhere else just use L'Orange and Golden Peach. So it looks healthy and not gray. Look how amazing that looks. And there's not a huge difference between this side and that side, but you can tell where this side is nice and even, but you can still see a little shadowing right there. Adding that pop of highlight right there really helps with that little shadowing. So going in with L'Orange and Golden Peach, I'm going in, re-brightening all around the under eye area, and I'm adding a hint of banana with all three of these, just in that groove area. So if someone has a groove, you want to go lighter just in that groove, and on the puffy areas, you can go a little bit darker. So that way, the areas that are sunken in, when you lighten it, it comes out. And then the areas that are puffed out, when you just bronze them a little bit, it goes back in. So for someone with very heavy eye bags, literal eye bags under their eyes, on the puffy part, go with their own skin color. But on that part that dips in, go with the light orange. And that will brighten up the inside part that's sunk in. It'll bring it back out. And then the parts that's poofed out, it'll hide it back in. So it ends up becoming a straighter edge. Hope that makes sense. And now I'm going to re-brighten this lovely edge of the nose here and right into the T-zone section. And now I have a little bits of highlights here and there, and it's looking so amazing and smooth and not gray. That's the best part about it. So now I'm going in with my Morphe 438 brush with Havana, this color here, Morphe 438 and Havana. And I'm gonna just give a little bronze touch to the outer edges of the face to warm it up even more. If this step ends up looking a little gray, then go ahead and add L'Orange in there too. L'Orange is my lifesaver when it comes to using it on my Indian clients for highlight and for contour. I don't want anything looking gray, ever. So now I can use a little bit of L'Orange and Havana mixed together so that the edges here don't look gray. L'Orange, Havana, warming that up. L'Orange, Havana, warming that up. No gray here. And just little bits of blending here and there, just so everything just looks amazingly sculpted. And lastly, I want to work a little bit more on just smoothing out the nose contour a bit. So going back to that toothbrush brush, which is the oval number 3 from MAC. If I find it, that would be awesome. And we're going to just go ahead and add a little bit of product. Havana, just a hint of it, to the edges of the nose. So right here, I'm wiping off on my wrist because I don't want too much product to be on here. And right there. And then I'm going to go with my finger, or you can even use a beauty blender, whatever you feel comfortable with, just to blend the edges so that they're not overly saturated. And now we have our nose contour. Let's go over some highlighting. Now, if you're with a client that has major wrinkles or visible pores and things like that, you don't want to overly highlight them. In fact, the only highlight you should be doing should be with a matte product, not a shimmer product. For For our cheeks here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a little hint of Saleha Beauty Give Me Glow. SalehaBeauty.com. This is their Hollywood Gold highlighter. You can use code DYF15 to save on anything from SalehaBeauty.com. And I'm going in with that Makeup Forever foundation brush number 108, tapping it off because I don't want shimmer all over the place. And I just want to add a little hint of this product right along the cheekbones, and I'm using my finger to smooth it in so that it doesn't look obnoxious. So over here, adding a little bit of that shine, and then using my finger to just soften it up and give it that smooth effect. And I can also use a little bit just on the bridge of the nose there, so we have a little shine on that side. And then sometimes I may even add just a little bit right above the lip and a little bit on the chin, just to give a nice fully covered area. Sometimes I'll do a little bit above the brow, just to give a little bit more of that dewy effect there too. But I love to just focus most of it on the nose and on the peak of the cheekbones there. Looks amazing already. Now I'm going to go in with my MAC Angled Cheek Brush, and I'm going to tell you which MAC blush we're going to use today. It is this one here, which is called Copper Tone. So it's a very warm coppery color. And I'm just going to use this right above the contour, but below the highlight. So right in between the contour and the highlight is where this blush will go. And if I want more color payoff, I'll push the blush in. And if I just want a light sweep, then I'll literally just sweep it as so. But it has a really great warm tone to it, and I love this on Indian skin tones. It just looks so summery and so fresh. And lastly, if you want to add a little bit more shine, there's a color called Margin, which is like a shiny peach, and you can use that. Go ahead and smile really big. You can just use that right on the apple of the smile to create a nice gradient there, and everything just looks so, so delicious. So now that we're officially, done with the face, let's complete the rest of the eyes, and then we'll do any touch-ups that need to be done after the eyes are done. We'll just touch up around the dark circles again, just to make sure everything is just perfect. So the first thing that I like to do for the eyes is I like to throw on a little bit of eyeshadow base, but in this case, we already have the concealer from earlier, so that's all we're going to use in this particular case. But if you feel like it's just not enough, then you can absolutely use an eyeshadow base over this. Just make sure it's not too light because everything's gonna turn gray. I like things to stay more warm and orange. So first step of the eyes is just to make sure that that eyebrow bone is nicely highlighted here. So I'm going in with my 239 brush from MAC, and I'm going to use the Carly Bible palette from BH Cosmetics, that lightest color here. It's a matte creamy shade, so any matte creamy shade would be fine. And I'm just gonna brighten up the bone, the brow bone. All right, that's all I'm doing there. Don't worry about blending it, it's fine. It will be blended by the time you're done anyway, so I tend to not spend extra time in blending when I know it's just gonna be fine. So now I'm gonna do her eyebrows to get those out of the way. I'm brushing through to make sure that that eyeshadow doesn't stay in her brow area. And I'm going to use Brow Wiz in Brunette to create her perfect brows. I hope you guys saw my brow video too. That was pretty epic. 5 different models with 5 different brow issues came to the studio, and I did a whole makeover live for you guys. So if you haven't caught that video, make sure you watch it, because it's pretty life-changing, whether it's for your brows or your client's brows. So I'm just kind of focusing on the arch and tail, and then everywhere else I'm going very light with my stroking because I really like that faded ombre effect. And then I blend that ombre a little bit more right in here. So this just kind of gives that soft, squared look. And same on this side. We're going to focus on the arch and the tail first. Fill in any holes and slowly start bringing it into the inner part of the brow. And go very light with your stroking as you're bringing it into that very beginning part and blend it. All right, now that the brows are filled in, if you want to add anything else to them, you absolutely may. One of the things that I do is I love to add a little brow gel. This is from Benefit Cosmetics. I use the darker brow gel on the outer edges of the brows. And I use a lighter one on the inner half for that ombre effect. Right in through there. Again, I don't want it to look too ashy, so what I do to combat any ashiness, if you ever get ashiness out of your brow gel, meaning like grayish tones, go ahead and set it with a little bit of powder in a very warm tone. So go to the Brow Pro palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I go into this color called Caramel, which is like super warm and like a light orangey tone, and I use that with just a pencil brush. This is my Sigma pencil brush. And I'm just gonna warm it up. And that really helps to combat any gray tones. And then if you'd like, you can go into chocolate, this one here, to set that outer half if you want to. All right. At this point, I just do a little bit of a cleanup. This is my Morphe E47 brush. I use this for cleanup all the time. And I'm just gonna make sure that all this is nice and smooth here. No product is sitting on skin. And if there's anything you need to adjust, you can absolutely adjust it. I do a little back and forth until I'm really happy with the end result, but it's completely up to you if you want to get back to it later or just tackle it. If I see something that bothers me, I tackle it right away, because I'm always afraid that if I wait till the end to tackle any issues, I'm going to forget, because at the end you get so distracted with the rest of the look that sometimes you just may not get back to tackle any other issues that you may have noticed. All right, so at this point, we're ready for the rest of the eyeshadow. So I'm going to go in with, let's see, which brush am I going to use now? Morphe 441. Morphe 441. It's a blending brush, looks like this, and I'm going to use this middle color here on the top row from the Carly Bible palette. And I'm just going to create a little bit of that mauve undertone right in the crease. And I'm going to mix it with my sold out palettes, the Tamana palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, Bengal and Chocolate. Bengal and Chocolate. I love mixing colors to create that perfect tone, especially for Indian skin. I love a perfect amount of warmth. Another color I like, if you guys are MAC people, I really love like Texture from MAC. That's a really, really great caramel, warm brown, light brown shade for blending the crease. Okay, so now I have a little bit going on the crease right there. Now I want to go in with, again, my 239 from MAC, my little flat brush here. I'm going to fill up her whole lid with this tone. This is like a bronze tone here from the Carly palette. And I love it because it's so warm. And again, remember those orange tones. They look so amazing on Indian girls who have pigmented eyes. And what I'm doing here is I'm just rolling this color with a press and slide. If you guys have been my students for a while, you know this term that I taught you guys, the press and slide, where you press the product onto the eyelid and then you slide it down. And that way it actually sticks to the eyelid and it doesn't fall all over the place. So that's why I'm able to do the eyes after I do the face, because there's just no mess. So see how beautiful and warm that looks all over her eyelid? Same color on the other side. Press and slide all the way down. Remember to pull up the skin so that you can get all the way down to the lash line when you're using your lid color. Pressing and sliding all throughout. Alrighty, and then now, just for a little bit of dimension, I'm going to go in with this lighter gold here, this one, and I'm going to apply that on the center of her lid, just for a pop. And I love dimension, you know how I am, I can never really stick with one shade. So I'm just adding that right in the center for a pop of gold. Okay, look how gorgeous that looks. Oh my gosh. I definitely do want to add just a little more of that orangey bronzy shade just to blend over the gold on the outer corners in case too much gold got on there. And now we are done with the overall eyeshadow. Now it's time to do the eyeliner. So I'll be going in with the black eyeliner pencil, and that would be, let's see, which one am I going to use today? I have this beautiful dark brown too, from Girlactic, which I really love, and I want to show you that, but for now I really want to use black. So this one's also from Girlactic. Girlactic, my discount code is DYF15, Girlactic Beauty, so that's girlactic.com. This beautiful pencil is very soft, and what's amazing is that you can smudge it, but once it sets, it sets. And I love the brown, which I'm going to show you now just so you can see both, and if you like both, you can order both, because I definitely keep both in my kit. This is the brown, which is super dark as well, but it remains a little bit more rich when you blend it out. So that's the dark brown and the black. We're going to use black today. Go ahead and look up to the ceiling. I'm going to use it inside the waterline. And to sanitize this, you can either just rub it across a paper towel to get rid of the surface, or you could spray with alcohol. I tend to rub because when you spray with alcohol, the alcohol seeps into the applicator and it can mush your product, and then the whole head of your eye pencil can come apart or get too soft. So up to you, or you could just spray the alcohol on a tissue and then drag it on that. That would probably be your best way to sanitize if you don't want to just break the tip off like I usually do. I'm just going to do a little bit more on this side to match. All right, now we're going to set it with eyeshadow. So we're going to go in with a chocolate eyeshadow from my palette here. By the way, chocolate is one of the colors that Anastasia Beverly Hills ended up keeping from the palette, but the chocolate that she has is now different from my chocolate. My chocolate is matte. The one on Anastasia's website currently is a shimmer product, which is also beautiful, but it's not going to give you the matte effect. Go ahead and look up. I'm going to set it with chocolate because I don't want it to look too gray. This brush is MAC 214. It's a great brush for smudging your eyeliner. And now with the same brush, I'm going to go in with this color here. It's a shimmery brown from the Carly palette. And look up again. I'm going to use that right underneath the black. And the reason why I am using a shimmer one is because it attracts a little bit more light. So for my clients that have dark circles, I like to add a little bit of a shimmery smoky effect rather than a matte smoky effect, just to bring a little bit more light. So then I'm going to add that lighter bronze color here. Go ahead and look up again. And we're going to highlight the tear duct with that. And it ends up looking so pretty. Now, one thing, go ahead and look up again. I just want to make sure that no dust has fallen. So I'm just doing a little cleanup there. And now I can work on the top eyeliner for that full effect on the eyes. The top eyeliner, I'm going to use Saleha Beauty Jet Black. It's the Arabian Nights liquid liner pen. I love it. Again, my discount code is DYF15, and it's a beautiful jet black. And what I love about it is the tip is so sharp and nice that you can get a nice wing out of it too. I love using this, and it's very, very easy to use. So go ahead and close your eyes. And we're just going to go ahead and do a nice solid line. Notice that I'm using my pen flatly, sideways, so that I can get a better line. If I use just the tip of it, like I'm using a pencil, it's a little bit difficult to draw a perfect line. So if you use it flat, it kind of does the job for you. And now I'm also dragging the pen down her lashes to pick up any of that metallic eyeshadow fallout. Go ahead and open your eyes. So now you can see a little bit of that black. We haven't done the wing yet, so that's next. Go ahead and close again. I'm just gonna clean up this edge here. And now we just swiftly draw that wing and connect it in to the lash line. Awesome, go ahead and open. So now her eyeliner is done on that side. We'll do the same on the other side, looking so cute. Notice that I am moving her eyelid around to get a better aim at where I want to draw my line. Don't be afraid to move the eyelid. Open. Ooh. All right, perfect. And let me see, I think I want to do just a little bit more. Look down, but in that direction, yeah. I'm just gonna thicken up this piece. And now look down in this direction. That way you can get the inner corners. And close your eyes. Gotta clean up that fallout on the lashes. One more thing that I like to do, especially when you're using metallic eyeshadows on the lid, have any of you ever felt, and I know the answer is yes because I get this question all the time, how you get the black eyeliner to not get that gold shadow on it and transfer every time you blink. So one of the ways that helps me is if I'm using a small brush and I set the eyeliner with black eyeshadow, but the eyeshadow has to be like super black. So the brush that I'm going to use is the Morphe 515 brush, this little guy right here. And I'm going to dip into the Noir eyeshadow by Anastasia Beverly Hills and Me. It's in my palette, but if you don't have my palette, which if you don't have it by now, you won't be able to get it because it's been discontinued like over a year ago. This is just limited edition. But you can buy this color on her website, and it is this black on her website as well. So this is one of the colors that is true to what the palette had. And now I'm just going to carefully stamp the black eyeshadow over the black eyeliner to mattify it and to protect it from getting that gold transfer on it. So what happens is, even if your eyeliner is dry, it attracts powder. Like if any shiny powder gets on it, it sticks to it like glue. So if you have a layer of black eyeshadow, like a true black eyeshadow, then the likelihood of the gold transferring onto it gets dramatically decreased. So now we have a much better, longer lasting effect with this rather than if I didn't set it. Okay, look up one more time. I'm just going to re-brighten your tear duct. All right, gosh, this is looking so cute already. Now it's time to curl the lashes and put on some falsies. So this is the Shiseido eyelash curler. Go ahead and look down to the floor. Lift up the lid and go in on it. We're gonna do a couple times just to make sure it's really curly. Give her a chance to blink. Get in there one more time. All right, other side. When you lift up, it's easier because then the lashes stand up for you and you can really get in close to the roots. Always give them a chance to blink in between your squeezings. So now I'm gonna do it again. Let her blink for a second, and I'm gonna do one more time. I do it 3 times for straight lashes, or as many times as it takes to get a really good curl. But for people with curly lashes already, you know, sometimes you don't even have to curl them, but I tend to just do it anyway to create a nice bend on the lashes. And now I'm gonna use my favorite mascara, the Hypnose Drama Waterproof. Look up to the ceiling. I'm gonna do the bottoms first. Always make sure, especially when you're working with a client that has dark circles, make sure the bottom lash mascara at least is waterproof, because the last thing you need is raccoon eyes due to your mascara running, and that's not even like really your fault. You covered the circles, but the mascara ran. So definitely want to be prepared with some waterproof mascara, especially for the bottoms. If your client doesn't want waterproof mascara, then just use it on the bottoms, not the tops, because the bottoms are easier to clean off anyway. But you know, it's okay. The tops, it doesn't matter unless the client's planning on crying. Like if it's her wedding, I always make sure that it is fully waterproof, unless they have extensions on, lash extensions. You're not allowed to put waterproof anything on lash extensions. Look at those gorgeous bottom lashes. Holy cow, that looks amazing. And now she's gonna look down to the floor, and I'm going to get up in here and do the top lashes. I'm gonna allow her to breathe and blink and do the other side. This is a very sophisticated look, but it looks so sexy at the same time. It's definitely not going overboard, but it's also not natural. It's that perfect medium between glam and soft that really makes it attractive. Now for the lashes, we're gonna use Huda Beauty in Giselle. These are the Giselle lashes, the number one right there. And I'm gonna go ahead and apply these to her using my black latex-free lash adhesive. It's a brush-on lash adhesive from houseoflashes.com.
I'm so glad you're using latex free.
Oh, good. Are you allergic?
I thought once, I mean, suddenly I started headache. I don't know if it is because of that or something. But
Maybe.
yeah.
I'm allergic around my eyes. For my hands, I'm okay. Like with gloves.
I mean, the moment I had those flu, I mean, 5 minutes I started
Oh my
headache.
god. Oh, then that's definitely what it is. It could be the fumes too. So this is latex free, and it's so much safer for sensitive eyes. I have super sensitive eyes. So even latex free glue sometimes bothers me, but it's definitely not as bad as the regular. So align the lashes center to center. So I'm centering it on her natural. And then I close down on one end, and I close down on the other end. And notice that I talked to her for a while the lash glue was getting sticky on the lash band, so that by the time I'm ready to actually apply it on her, it would stick. Now she can close her eyes, and I'm gonna really just make sure that it's all sticking really well. Now she can open. Wow, it looks beautiful. Beautiful. same thing again. We're just gonna brush it right on the base of the lashes. You chat for a minute just to make sure that this thing gets sticky before I put it on her so that it really just sticks to her skin and it doesn't just drag all over the place while you're struggling. So always wait before you stick it on. Wait for it to get a little dry, sticky, tacky, however you want to describe it. And then center to center. Close in on one side. And then close in on the other side. And then she can close her eyes all the way, and you can just really make sure that all of it is sticking well. Okay, open. Absolutely stunning. I'm so in love with these lashes on you. And now we're ready for the lipstick. So I had asked Nipali last time, what kind of lipstick do you love? And she mentioned that she loves deeper berry colors, and I totally agree. I think deeper berries and burgundies and maroons are so sexy on tan Indian women, and let's just go for that.
That's what I think. It's like pops out your lips.
Oh, so amazing. It just looks so, almost like regal, you know? Very attractive.
I like Rekha. She used to wear all those, the Bollywood actress.
Yeah.
She has dusky skin tone. She always wears like burgundies and wine colors, and
Even to this day,
yeah,
she still keeps with that. So the lip liner I'm using on her is called Vino from MAC. It's a purpley burgundy. This is just for me to trace the outline of her lips. And one thing I just absolutely adore, well, one of the many things I adore about Indian women, aside from their stunning eyes and eyebrows and skin tone, is their lips. The definition that they naturally have on the lips is just so easy to line. And I know a lot of Indian women struggle to find their perfect lipstick, but honestly, there is an entire rainbow of colors that you guys can pull off. You just have to try it and feel comfortable in it. Brights look good, light colors look good. I think the hardest part is finding your perfect nude. I think for Indian women, the best nude, especially if you have hyperpigmentation or dark circles or any darkness in the skin, is a nude that has a peach tone in it, almost an orangey, rosy peach tone. That type of nude is my favorite, and the color that I recommend is Ravishing by MAC. It's one of my all-time favorites when it comes to getting that type of tone from a nude. On a very, very pale white girl, it's not going to look nude enough. It's going to look a little dark. But on most of the medium skin tones to deeper skin tones, it'll end up looking a little bit more nude.
I know some nude tones. I like it in the bottle. They look like foundation on my lips.
Yeah, it ends up looking like foundation.
Yeah.
You're totally right. I think you should try Ravishing.
I should.
Ravishing is nice, yeah. So this is what I use for my lip brush sometimes. This is just an art supply brush. I got it at Michael's. It's just generic. I just like the size of it. And the lipstick that I'm putting on her is a liquid lipstick called Heathers from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is a little bit more of the maroon tone. And although it looks different from her lip liner, what I'm going to do to make it match is I'm going to go over her lip liner a little bit with this product so it blends in. Wow. Deepali, you're going to have to write a shopping list. Again, this is Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick in Heathers. Go ahead and open your mouth just a little bit more. I'm going to get the corners. Yes. Always make sure you get the corners of the mouth. And now that that's done, I'm going to just do a little cleanup on the edges. So I'm going back with, ooh, there's another brush that I love to use. for the edges. I'm hoping I have it here for you guys. Yeah, I do. This is also matte. And it is one from the Oval series. This one is, oh, it's the Linear series. This is Linear 1. Linear 1, check that out. Sharp, sharp, sharp. And go ahead and smell like this. When you're stretching the skin like that, you can clean up the edges and just always wipe off on your arm or on a tissue before you go back in and clean up another area, because you don't want to accidentally draw a whole new line somewhere. There we go. Now it's perfect. I love this. Now final touches. If you guys want to take a step back, look at your work, make sure there's nothing that needs any extra brightening or whatever. And if there is, here's the Anastasia palette again. I'm going to go back in with the Golden Peach here, and she's going to look up to the ceiling, and I'm just going to dig that right into the groove here, just to re-brighten any darkness that may have happened while I was rubbing on her skin, doing her eye makeup. Any areas that need a little brightening, we can do this. And then of course, just making sure with your Beauty Blender, if there's anything that you just want to just sit in the skin a little bit better, you can do your final touches with that, and it ends up just looking heavenly. I think you look absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. And that, my friends, is how to create the perfect even skin. So what I'm gonna have you guys do is she's gonna kind of pose for you guys, so you guys can get a good look at all the angles. If you like the eye makeup, she can look down for you. You know, if you like the under eyes, she can just kind of tilt her chin up a little bit. Yeah, you can see a little bit more. Feel free to take screenshots, tag us, Glory of Henna and Dress Your Face. Let us know what you loved about class, and I personally love to hear your feedback. So if you post any pictures from today's class, take your screenshots, post it on your pages, on your Instagram, hashtag Dress Your Face Live, so I can go through that hashtag and give you guys some love and read your feedback. So when you write in your description of those posts, let me know what I loved about class was this, what I want to know more about next time is this, and that way we can listen to your requests as we've been doing over this past year and a half of doing these classes with you guys. We're just absolutely amazed by your feedback, and we would love to do more things that you want to learn. So now we're going to zoom out, and I will let her go off on her hot date. Show your henna, look at that. Oh my God, I love that. Okay, next time I see you, I have to do this side of my hand.
Absolutely.
So far I just did this side.
Thanks,
awesome.
guys.
Thank you so much for joining. You look amazing. Wait,
Thank
before
you.
before you, well, you feel free to hang out unless you have plans. I want to Snapchat with you. Yes, let's Snapchat. Hi Snapchat. So here's the final look from the How to Cover Dark Circles class. Look how beautiful Deepali looks. Oh my God. Oh, I love. Now you guys can hear my crazy voice again. Okay. If you missed the steps on how to do this, go ahead and sign up on dressyourfacelive.com. Within the next 48 hours, we'll have this video up. If you missed the step. And then you can watch it as many times as you want until it expires. Bye. Thank you. All right. Are you going to hang out, or you got to leave?
I could stay. I want to see their question and answers.
Yes, I think that's the funnest part. Okay, so let's do the Q&A, guys. Go ahead and ask me your questions on the latest post on Instagram on my page. And then, gosh, I'm like such a shorty. I have to bring this up a bit. Okay. Latest post on my Instagram, and I can answer your questions. Let's see what's going on here. By the way, this is the post that you should be asking your questions. This is the one I'm reading. The one that I just posted an hour ago, in the beginning of class. So, ooh, lots of comments. I think a lot of people watch this class. I mean, it was your request, so. All right, let me go to the beginnings. I'm definitely not going to be able to answer all of them, as we only have 15 minutes until the end of our time together. But let's see here. All right, Alexine period Martinez is asking, I have a question about your hair extensions. I have just black hair. Would the black ombre blend well? Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why I created really natural ombre effects with highlights throughout, because I know a lot of you out there have solid hair colors, whether it's blonde or black or caramel or whatever it is, and you may not want to dye your hair or damage it or whatever, or some of you may not be able to dye your hair because of pregnancy or something like that. So instead I have a very safe and easy alternative with the ombre extensions. So if you have jet black hair, use one of the jet black tones. There's also a dark brown which almost looks black. Basically it's black and it goes into a chocolate brown. So that would be the most natural one. And then if you want something with more dimension and more contrast, and go for the black to blonde ones. There's several choices on BombayHair.com under the Tamana Ombre Extensions line, and you'll be able to choose which one you like. And if you need help at all, their customer service is amazing. You can actually just email them or chat with them on the website and send them pictures of how your hair looks like in natural light and in indoor lighting, so that they can tell you what would be best for you. But yeah, you're gonna love it. And the coolest part is it's so thick. Like, it's just as thick on the roots as it is on the tips. And I'm wearing my ombre extensions right now too. And I want you guys to see like how full these are. Isn't that insane? And this is not the whole pack. This is not even half the pack. This is 4 pieces. The pack comes with 10 pieces. So you can see just with 4 pieces how thick and heavy it is, and all you have to do is like curl it if you really want it to blend extra good, curl it with your hair, and then brush through so that your hair actually mixes with the ombre curls that you've clipped in. So do that, you'll get a much better blend than if you left it straight. All right, Shakara_designs is asking, what do you use on clients with textured skin? So any silicone-based primer works really well for textured skin. One of the ones that I used around her eye area was the YSL Touche Eclat Blur, which is excellent for texture. Another one that I really like is Lancome La Bosse Pro. And I love the Porefessional from Benefit. It really fills in pores and fine lines amazingly. All right, Zara Farouk is asking, most concealers crease under the eye on the puffy lines. What can help with that? So one of the things that I found is that, although I'm not like a huge user of Beauty Blender, I like that the Beauty Blender really flatly puts the concealer and blends the concealer around the eye so that it doesn't crease as fast. But if you notice in this class, even after doing all that, before I put the powder on, it still creased. So what you have to do is make sure that you're setting it with enough powder. So use a little bit of powder around that area that really creases a lot, and then put light powder everywhere else, and that should prevent the extra creasing that could happen. Elena Beauty is asking, how can I not look dry under my eyes after I set my concealer with the powder, she means. It seems like no matter how much or how little I set my concealer with powder, it still looks dry and cakey and creasy. And I use the MAC Concealer and the MAC Studio Fix powder. I do have another alternative for you if you don't love the effect or the thickness of the MAC Studio Fix powder, which I personally prefer, but if you like a more natural, even look, you can try a more translucent powder instead. See how that helps? But my personal experience with translucent powder, the reason why I don't have it in my kit is because it ends up looking very chalky, and I just haven't found the perfect colors yet. Ben Nye has a whole range, and so far I've tried all of them, and I've just not been so thrilled for myself. But I know a lot of my clients out there and my fellow makeup artists out there love the Ben Nye powder line and have been raving about it for years. I just haven't fallen in love the way I fell in love with Studio Fix. But again, if you're looking for like a more natural look, try a translucent, try the Ben Nyes, or another option is if you do want to invest in a powder that's a little bit more refined, there's 2 that are in the market that are really great for translucent. One is the Laura Mercier translucent powder, which is hands down one of the best loose powders out there. And then the other one is the Lancome Absolute powder, which is just so luxurious and so smooth that it ends up looking just flawless on the skin. You can use it all over the face or just to set under the eyes. Either way, you're golden. So the Lancome one, the Lancome Absolute loose powder, it's in a big old tub, and it's super expensive, but for me, it's very worth it. I carry little jars of it just in case I'm working on a more mature client with dry skin. Or the Laura Mercier translucent powder, you should be pretty good with those too. So try that and see if that helps. And as far as, and I know a lot of you guys are asking about what's your favorite concealer that doesn't crease, MAC Pro Longwear Concealer is my favorite because it creases less than the other concealers out there in the market. If you guys know of any concealers that are creaseless completely, please do write them in the comments so that you guys can learn from each other, and I can also get some tips from you too. I think Tarte has a creaseless concealer that I tried when I was in Turks and Caicos, and it did not crease at all. It was actually really amazing. I'm gonna go down a little bit because I want to make sure that we're okay here on your questions and on your time. We have about 10 minutes left. Okay, so Unique Period Radiance is asking what eyeshadow looks are best for deep set eyes and how do you cover dark skin on the eyelid? So today during class I showed you how to cover dark skin on the eyelid. I used an orange based concealer, brightened it right up. And then as far as the best eyeshadow looks for deep set eyes, you never want to go too deep in the crease for deep set eyes. You want to go more medium or light in the crease, if anything. And for lids that are sunken in, you want to bring them out with a bright, shiny shade. So a bright metallic gold, for example, or if the eyelids are too wrinkly, just keep with a lighter tone and it'll bring out the eyelid so it doesn't look as sunken in. Let's see. Oh, I love you guys so much. I love your comments. Thank you. Okay, this is a good question. Deepi Sahi is asking, how do you choose the correct concealer? Do you choose 1 or 2 or 3 shades lighter? And do you match the concealer exactly to the foundation and use the powder to brighten the under eye area? Thanks. I get this question a lot, and I'm so glad you asked that because I almost forgot to even talk about that. Choosing the right concealer, I don't like to go too light. Actually, I did talk about that a little bit earlier. I never go too light. I don't go a few shades lighter unless the person has no dark circles to begin with and I just want to brighten it up for that highlight effect. But if we're correcting dark circles, I do not go lighter with the concealer. I focus more on matching the exact skin tone and adding that orange tone to brighten it up. Maybe an apricot or orange to brighten it up, and then I set it with a little bit of a brightening like the golden peach and a hint of banana to brighten with powder, but I do not use a lighter concealer for pigmented dark circles. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. Oh, and thank you guys for answering each other's questions. I absolutely love that. And a few of you really want Simon Orion on the show. I'll ask him if he would come on the show and answer some of your questions. Maybe we could do a free Q&A with him or something. Let's see. Oh, and if you ever want to see live demonstrations of this, I think he has Snapchat. Well, I think he has Snapchat and things like that. Go on his page and you can see some of the videos too. Oh my God, I love you guys so much. You guys are answering each other's questions so beautifully. Okay, so Styled by Sahar is asking a question that I did talk about earlier, but I just want to reintegrate it for you. I have puffy eyes. When I apply highlighter on the highest point of my cheekbone, it also highlights the puffiness. Guide me to the correct way to highlight. So like I said, the areas that are really puffy, you do not want to highlight those areas. In fact, you want to use a slightly darker tone of powder just to recede those areas a little bit. For areas that are sunken in, that's where you want to really highlight. So let's say you want to highlight your cheekbone, but you have a sunken in area here. And then you have puffiness right above that. So instead of putting highlighter everywhere where your puffiness comes out even more, you just want to highlight in that darker area and on your cheekbone, and that puffy area of your eyes, you just want to use a matte powder that matches your skin tone a little bit better instead of going too white or shiny. That way it won't look more puffy. So remember, any areas that are out too much and puffy too much, you want to use a color to bring it in, so going a little bit darker. And then any areas that are sunken in, you want to use a lighter, brighter color to bring them out. Zahara Beauty 1 is asking about the code for Morphe brushes. It is my specific code, it's DYF. Anyone can use it, but originally it was, for my students, but then we ended up making it public. So yes, absolutely, anybody can use that code, but since you're watching this, you are my student. So you're golden. Either way, you're golden. So use DYF when you come to the store or if you go online. All right. Let me see. So AYT Khalil is asking, when I add my orange corrector and then put my concealer, the orange underneath penetrates through the concealer and then I end up with orange everywhere. Any tips on how to avoid this? So focus on only putting the orange on areas where it's very dark and pigmented, and then try tapping it in with a beauty blender so that it really penetrates and kind of sits in your skin a little bit better, and then tap on your other concealer over it so it doesn't all mix together. Try that technique, see if that works for you a little bit better. All right, Aisha is asking, oh no, I'm sorry, Aisya. It's Aeesyah. I noticed that you use your beauty blender dry. Am I doing it all wrong? I've been always wetting my sponge. How do I know when to use it wet and when to use it dry? Thanks so much. Oh my gosh, so sweet. I'm recently subscribed and I must say the tips you share are not readily available on YouTube. So much love from SG. Thank you. Okay, so the reason why I like to use it dry is because I don't like to dilute whatever's going on in the face with water. I don't want any of the water or moisture from the sponge to mess up my cake. I love the cake. So I use it dry for that reason. Technically, the correct way, and you know how I hate rules. If you know me, you know I hate rules and I kind of break every single one of them, hence my dry sponging. But the technically right way to do it is to wet the sponge, wring it out so that it's not super wet, and then bounce it on the skin, and it gives you a dewy, very smooth, very flawless finish, which it does work. And the reason why they do that is because if you're gonna blend your foundation or apply your foundation with that sponge, it's gonna soak up too much if it's dry. But what I do is I apply foundation with my brush, and then if you really want a perfectly smooth canvas, then you can bounce a dry beauty blender over it just to absorb any excess product. If it's a wet beauty blender, it's not gonna absorb any product. In fact, it's just gonna add moisture to my skin, which I don't want. I really want a nice soft matte look for everyone. Even with dry skin, I add the shine with a powder highlight rather than any cream product. So that's kind of how I like to do it personally. I'm gonna go down here and see any of your other questions. I'm getting a lot of the same questions over and over, so I just want to make sure I'm getting a fresh question here. By the way, if you, if you guys ever experience any issues from the video connection or anything like that, there's several different factors. When we're streaming, it's based on internet quality and everything like that on your end and on our end. But the great thing about these online classes is that all the classes are recorded in full HD. So when they are uploaded, which sometimes takes a day or two because of such a large file, and sometimes the rendering just takes forever. But once it's uploaded, then you'll really be able to see all the real details of it. So this is what I usually recommend, especially if you're new. This is very important information. When you're watching the class the first time, if it's live, only focus on writing the notes and listening to what I'm saying and watching how I'm doing things. I want you guys to make sure that everything is very clear to you as far as your notes, the products that I'm using, the brushes that I'm using, write down all my coupon codes, all those things. Be prepared and write down all your notes. When you do watch the uploaded version it's HD, it's amazing quality, everything is clear, and that's when you can really sit down and practice with me. So you can play and pause me as you need, and you can practice along and make sure that you're catching up and you're already mentally prepared because you already know the products that are needed and the tools that are needed for it. So just so you guys know, when we're streaming, it may not always be the best quality because it truly depends on the signals and everything like that, which we don't always have 100% control over. This is the internet. But again, when it comes to the recording that we do upload, for those of you who want to watch it over and over, it's always going to be HD, and it will always, as far as we can control, it will always be the best level it can be. So at that note, I feel like I don't want you guys to feel like I'm like not answering all your questions, but like literally a lot of these questions were already answered in this video. And I would love for you guys to continue answering each other's questions because you guys are just absolutely amazing and you're so knowledgeable already. So yeah, what I'll have you guys do is if there's any questions that you guys have, you can ask each other, and I can always answer in the next class as well. But based on the questions that I'm seeing here, those were mainly answered throughout the class. So definitely check out the class one more time to catch any information that you missed. And I just wanted to say thank you again. This class was so much fun. Thank you to Dipali, Glory of Henna is her Instagram name, for being my guest today and allowing us to learn. And I'll see you guys next time very soon. You will see the class on the homepage when you open justyourfacelive.com. On the homepage, you'll see a list of our classes that are coming up. We're adding more classes to the roster, so I need your help. I want you guys to post a picture from today's class and make sure your Instagrams are public so I can actually see this. Hashtag Dress Your Face Live on that picture, so that I can find it and see it. And I want you to write under your picture post, I want you to write, what are your next requests from me? What do you want to learn? Is it more celebrity inspired looks, like a Kim Kardashian inspired look, or something along those lines? Or is it more problem skins that you want me to combat, or something like that? Whatever topics that you really want me to add to this season's classes, please ask me and I'm not able to see every single comment. So the best way to do it is to post a picture, a screenshot from this class, telling me how you like the class, what you want next time. Give me your updates as far as what else do you want to learn and your requests, and always hashtag Dress Your Face Live when you're writing to me like that, because that way I can search through all the posts. Again, you have to have a public profile for me to be able to see those questions. So even if you want to once in a while put it public and once in a while put it private, I do check by hashtags every single day. So hopefully one day I can actually see yours. If you are if you are private, you can just make it public for a few days and let me see it, please. All right, love you guys, and I'll talk to you later on the next class. Bye.